What are you doing right now? Are you driving home after a long day, maybe stuck in traffic with your thoughts running wild? Or are you at work, headphones and trying to escape the noise around you? Maybe you're lying in bed, lights off, just looking for something to calm your heart before sleep. Wherever you are, I want you to imagine this. What if one single night, one unexpected choice, could flip your entire world upside down? What if the thing you've been hiding, the gift you thought nobody saw, suddenly became the reason the whole room couldn't look away? Because I'm going to tell you a story about hunger, pride legacy, and the kind of music that can silence even the cruelest laughter.
A story with twists so sharp, it'll make you lean in closer. So settle in, this isn't just background noise. This is a journey. And I promise you, once it starts, you won't want to stop listening. Picture this. You've finally escaped the chaos of city apartments, the endless echo of neighbors' arguments seeping through paper-thin walls. You've scraped together every penny signed the dotted line on your dream farmhouse, and now you're rolling down that dusty gravel drive, the late afternoon sun painting the cornfields gold, like some postcard from a simpler life. Your heart's pounding with that electric mix of terror and joy, new parents, new home, new chapter. But as you step out, keys jingling like a promise, your golden Labrador Max leaps from the truck bed. He doesn't bound toward the porch for his usual victory lap. No. He freezes at the nursery window upstairs, ears perked, a low rumble building in his chest like distant thunder, growling at shadows that aren't there. Or are they? What if your faithful sidekick, the one who's licked your tears through every breakup and guarded your midnight snacks, isn't just being clingy? What if he's sensing something you can't buckle up, friends? Because this isn't just a story about a dog and a baby. It's about the whispers in the walls that could shatter everything you hold dear. And trust me, by the end, you'll never look at your own vents the same way again. Let's rewind to that golden hour in Elmwood, Indiana, a sleepy Midwestern speck where the biggest drama is usually a combine harvester breakdown during harvest. Emily Harper, our wide-eyed heroine. A 32-year-old freelance graphic designer with ink-stained fingers and a sketchbook full of half-drawn dreams cradles 3-month-old Sophie in the crook of her arm. Sophie's got those chubby cheeks that make strangers coo at the grocery store, her tiny fists waving like she's conducting an invisible orchestra. Emily's the dreamer type, the one who spots the hidden patterns in chaos, the flaw in a logo that no one else sees. She's always trusted her gut ever since she sketched her way out of a dead-end corporate job, trading fluorescent lights for sun-dappled studios. Beside her, hauling the last box of baby gear, is Tyler Harper, her rock-solid husband of 5 years. At 35, he's the pragmatic high school history teacher who can recite the Gettysburg Address a jar backward, but freezes at diaper changes. Tyler's the guy who color codes the pantry shelves and quotes stats to calm Emily's late-night worries. 90% of house issues are just settling, babe. We're golden. Together, they're the perfect yin-yang, her intuition sparking his logic, his steadiness grounding her flights of fancy. And then there's Max, their 4-year-old Labrador rescue, all 75 pounds of floppy-eared loyalty. They adopted him 2 years back from a shelter in nearby Lafayette, where he'd shown up half-starved but tail-wagging fierce. Max isn't flashy. He's the dog who curls at your feet during thunderstorms, his warm breath a quiet anchor in the storm. The farmhouse. Oh, it's a beauty, a 2-story colonial built in the 1920s, flipped top to bottom by some hotshot real estate guy named Harlan Voss. Wraparound porch creaking just enough to feel authentic white clapboard gleaming under a fresh coat of paint that smells like pine forests and new beginnings. Inside, the kitchen's got those farmhouse sinks deep enough to bathe a toddler in, and the nursery upstairs pale blue walls with stenciled clouds. A rocking chair scarred from Emily's late-night lullabies, and a crib that Tyler assembled at 2 a.m. with more curse words than screws. They close on a crisp September morning, today's date actually. September 18th, 2025, feels like fate when you think about it. and by afternoon boxes are flying open like confetti. Emily sets Sophie down for her first nap in the new crib, humming an off-key version of You Are My Sunshine. Tyler cracks open a beer on the porch, Max sprawled at his feet, and for a heartbeat, it's pure magic. That bone-deep exhale when you realize, this is ours. No more landlord hikes, no more shared laundry rooms. Just fields. Whispering in the wind, fireflies come summer, and a family finally rooted. But here's where the first crack appears subtle as a hairline fracture in porcelain. Emily tucks Sophie in, straightens the gauzy curtains, and that's when she feels it a chill slinking up her spine, colder than the AC should allow. She checks the thermostat 72 degrees steady as Tyler's heartbeat. Yet the nursery air hangs heavy like breath from an open grave. Max, who's been dozing in the hall, pads in uninvited. He doesn't circle the room like usual, sniffing corners for conquest. No. He plants himself square between the crib and the old basement vent low on the wall, a rusted grate from the house's Prohibition-era days, when bootleggers supposedly hid hooch in the subfloor. Max's golden fur puffs up his chocolate eyes, locking on that metal maw like it's the entrance to hell itself. A soft huff escapes him, not quite a growl, but enough to make Emily pause. "Easy, boy," she murmurs, reaching to ruffle his ears. He doesn't budge. If anything, he leans in, nose twitching at invisible scents, his body a living barrier. Tyler pokes his head in, chuckling. "What's this Max already staking claim on the princess's castle? Come on, buddy, porch beers await." But Max stays put, that rumble deepening just a notch, vibrating through the floorboards like a warning from the Earth's core. You know that feeling, don't you? The one that creeps in during those first fragile weeks of parenthood when every creak sounds like a monster and sleep's a distant memory. Emily brushes it off at first. New house jitters, she tells herself. But as the sun dips low, painting the fields, bloody orange, she can't shake it. That vent drafts a whisper of air, cool and metallic, carrying a faint mustiness like damp earth after rain. Tyler waves it away. "Old houses talk, Em. Remember the inspection Voss's guy gave it? Flying colors, updated HVAC, no leaks, the works." And he's right on paper. But papers lie, don't they? Here's a quick gut check from the real world. Back in 2019, out in rural Ohio, a family much like ours ignored their golden retriever's fixation on a basement vent. Turned out it wasn't ghosts, it was a carbon monoxide leak, silent and odorless, seeping up from a cracked furnace line. That dog saved 4 lives barking bloody murder until the firefighters came. Cause and effect, plain as day, we new parents running on fumes and formula stains amp up every quirk into full-blown paranoia. A draft becomes a drauger, a settling beam, a serial killer's footstep. Compare that to city folks crammed in high-rises vents. There are communal mazes buzzing with neighbors' Netflix queues, so anomalies blend into the white noise. Out here in the heartland, isolation's your amplifier. Those endless fields mean help's a 20-minute siren away, turning whispers into screams. And the biggest trap we fall into, dismissing our pets like they're dramatic toddlers throwing a tantrum. Vets see it all the time. 40% of new parents chalk up changes in their dog's behavior to separation anxiety after baby arrives. Max, though, labs like him aren't built for hysterics. With 300 million olfactory receptors, 50 times what we've got, he's basically a walking smoke detector for the unseen. Tune in, folks. Your 4-legged radar doesn't glitch for attention. It glitches when we stop listening. That first night sets the hook deeper. Sophie drifts off easy, her breath's a soft symphony through the baby monitor. Emily and Tyler collapse on the living room rug. Air mattresses till the bed arrives. Max wedged between them like a golden firewall. Midnight ticks by, stars winking through the lace curtains like conspirators. Then at 2:45 a.m. sharp it starts. A hitch in Sophie's breath escalating to that heartbreaking mule. Tyler bolts up groggy. Her bottle's in the kitchen. But before he can move, Max is gone, a blur of muscle up the stairs. By the time they stumble into the nursery, flashlight beams dancing like fireflies on meth. There he is, planted by the vent. Hackles raised a growl, rolling out low and lethal, aimed at the darkness beyond the grate. Sophie quiets the second he arrives, as if his presence stitches the air shut. Emily scoops her up, heart hammering. "What is it, Max? What's down there?" He doesn't answer. Of course, just holds his vigil, eyes unblinking, like he's staring down the devil himself. And here's the twist that'll keep you gripping the wheel a little tighter on your commute. As Emily rocks Sophie back to sleep, straining her ears over the cricket chorus outside, she swears she hears it. Not the wind, not the house settling. A faint scratch, deliberate, rhythmic, like nails testing wood from below. Max's head snaps toward it, his rumble spiking to a snarl that raises the hairs on your neck even now. Is it rats? Raccoons gone rogue or something? Someone far more sinister biding time in the bones of your brand new sanctuary, Emily whispers to Tyler in the hall, voice threaded with that first sliver of fear. He's never done this before. What if he's not protecting her from us, but from what's already inside? Tyler pulls her close, but his laugh's forced, now brittle as autumn leaves. Imagination's running wild, Em. Get some rest. But rest in a house that suddenly feels like it's holding its breath. Oh, friends, that's just the opening act. As the nights stretch on, those scratches sync with Sophie's cries like clockwork, and Max's guard turns from quirky to unbreakable. The real shadows, they're rising. And when Emily starts piecing together the puzzle, armed with nothing but flour, faith, and a neighbor's wild hunch, everything you thought you knew about home heart and heroism, it's about to flip upside down. Stick around, because the whispers are about to scream. What if the proof you need to save your world isn't in a high-tech gadget or a late-night Google rabbit hole, but in something as simple and ancient as a dusting of flour on the floor, like a canvas waiting for an artist's hand, or in this case, a thief's boot, to betray the truth? Emily and Tyler are about to stare down that canvas, hearts in their throats, as the farmhouse's secrets spill out like ink from a broken pen. If the shadows had you on edge last time, folks, this revelation, it's the kind that turns your safe haven into a crime scene and your loyal lab into a legend. Hang tight, because unmasking the monster under the stairs isn't just dramatic. It's the spark that ignites a firestorm of deceit wider than those Indiana cornfields. Dusk falls heavy on that fateful evening, September 25th, 2025. The sun bleeding orange across the porch like a warning flare. Emily's hands tremble just a touch as she scatters the flour. Clara's harmless hope. She calls it across the nursery hardwood, a pristine white veil glowing under the lamp, like fresh fallen snow in some forgotten Midwest winter. The air's thick with anticipation, that metallic tang from the vent, sharper now, as if the house itself is holding its breath. Tyler hovers in the doorway, arms crossed, his teacher skepticism etched in the furrow of his brow. If this shows paw prints or dust devils, Em, we chalk it up to Max's midnight zoomies and call it a win. But his voice wavers, that forced chuckle, not quite masking the flicker in his eyes, the same one Emily's caught during those 2:45 a.m. stakeouts, when Max's growl syncs with Sophie's sighs, like a duet from the dark. They tuck Sophie in early, her lashes fluttering like butterfly wings against the crib bars, and retreat to the living room. The baby monitor hums its lullaby static, Max stationed upstairs like a golden statue, unblinking vigil over his powdered domain. Emily sketches absent-mindedly a rough outline of the grate morphing into jaws, while Tyler paces, quoting old frontier tales of settlers who faced the unknown with grit, not ghosts. But tonight grit feels thin. The clock ticks mercilessly, 10 p.m. midnight, 2:00 a.m. Then, like clockwork, Sophie's hitch, a soft whimper threading the monitor. Max's rumble follows, deep and deliberate, vibrating through the walls, like the house's own heartbeat quickening. They don't wait this time. Creeping up those creaky stairs, each step a betrayal of the silence. Emily's phone flashlight cuts the gloom, casting long shadows that dance like intruders themselves. Tyler's breath hitches behind her, the air turning syrup thick. And there in the beam's unforgiving glow, the canvas speaks. The flower isn't swirled by drafts or paw pads. No, it's etched with purpose. Faint but furious handprints pressed into the vent grate, adult-sized calloused ridges blooming like dark flowers in the white. Boot treads snake from the metal maw across the floor. Deliberate drags testing paths converging on the crib, like a predator's blueprint, inches from where Sophie dreams. Emily's knees buckle, a gasp ripping from her throat. Ty, oh God, it's not the house. It's a person. Tyler's face drains to chalk white, his hand flying to the monitor, as if to shield it from the horror. No words, just the raw, animal instinct to protect dialing 911 with fingers that fumble like they've forgotten their own skin. Someone's been in here, he chokes out to the dispatcher voice cracking like dry earth. Coming through the vents. Our baby. Sirens pierce the corn silk dawn minutes later, red and blue, strobing the fields like a rural rave gone wrong, deputies spilling from cruisers with flashlights and grim faces. Elmwood's finest two locals and a county sheriff swarm the nursery, their boots crunching the evidence like it's fragile glass. Chaos erupts in waves, the farmhouse transforming from sanctuary to sieve. They cordon the room, forensics dusting for lifts, while a K9 unit sniffs the subfloor. Down in the basement, dank and cobwebbed, lit by bare bulbs swinging like pendulums, the real gut punch lands. A makeshift nest, tattered sleeping bag, empty cans of beans, a flickering lantern etched with Harlan Voss's company logo. And there, glinting in the beam, Emily's locket, the silver one from her late mom engraved with Forever Bloom, pilfered from her jewelry box, now tossed like trash amid candy wrappers. Tyler's roar echoes off the stone. That son of a... But the sheriff cuts him, radio crackling. We've got a name. Lyle Grant, ex-con handyman, worked Voss's flips. Fake inspections hidden retrieval tunnels in at least 12 farmhouses across Indiana. Bribes to inspectors $5,000 a pop to sign off on bogus HVAC seals. Cause and effect unspools, like a bad check. Voss's crew buries access points during Reno's loose grates. Widened ducts snaking to subfloors. Then Lyle slinks back post-sale for the score. Emily's heirlooms. Just the start. The ripple. Over 50 families hit facing not just theft, but mold-blackened lungs from tampered vents and title fights that drag like quicksand. Rural risks amp the dread. Out here, isolation stretches emergency response by a good 15 minutes, compared to suburban squads buzzing in under 10. Farmhouses like theirs. They're fortresses of solitude, beautiful until the breach. It's a mirror to the real-world wolves in flippers' clothing. Flashback to that 2021 FBI sting on illegal property, flipping rings in the Midwest where con artists like Voss inflated shacks with minor tweaks pocketing millions, while hiding crawl-space vaults for post-sale grabs. Antiques, cash lives upended. One dog's frantic barks in a Toledo farmhouse cracked the case wide, leading to a $2 million bust. 'Cause greed greased the gears, bribes blinding oversight. Affect families like ours, chasing the American dream wake to nightmares of violated walls. Compare suburban sprawl where nosy HOAs spot odd contractors quick as a picket fence gossip. Rural spots. You're a speck on the map, delays turning whispers to wails. And the emotional minefield Tyler crumples in the kitchen later that morning, deputies milling like ghosts as Emily clutches Sophie like a lifeline. I called you paranoid, Em. Brushed off Max like a damn puppy tantrum. If I'd listened... His voice breaks, tears streaking that fixer facade, the one men in straight couples default to suppressing the soft underbelly of fear to solve the storm. APA digs show it. That strong silent mode starves vulnerability, turning allies into echoes. But here in the wreckage, Tyler cracks open raw, real, pulling Emily into a hug that smells of coffee and regret. Evidence doesn't lie, neither do you, or him. Mistake spotlighted, we fixers bolt the doors, but forget the heart-suppressing cues until the flood hits. Lesson etched in that moment, proof, silences the skeptics. But vulnerability. It forges the unbreakable chain linking doubt to devotion. The detectives swarm like hounds on a scent, interviews layering like a thriller script. Voss's office raided by noon, his balding sweat as he stammers, "Grant went rogue. Recommendations were solid." But the web spins wider ledgers of laundered loot tunnels in 12 homes mirroring theirs. Lyle's ghosted, but his boot print matches Pryor's. A string of phantom flips from Lafayette to Fort Wayne. Emily's journal gold to the badges, her patterns pinning the 2:45 a.m. hits. As the sun climbs, casting long shadows over the evidence bags, a deputy kneels by Max, still planted by the crib. Golden fur dusted white like a sentinel statue. "Smart boy," she murmurs, fingering his faded collar tag, a dull metal oval etched with numbers. "Run this, will you?" The radio crackles back minutes later, and bam, the twist that'll drop your jaw. Max isn't just a shelter sweetheart. That tag, it's a retired FEMA K-9 marker, trained for air-sent disasters. After a brutal 2018 tornado collapse in southern Indiana, buried under rubble for hours, paw scarred from clawing free a trapped child, his jealousy, pure elite reactivation, sniffing anomalies in the airflow like a pro, refusing to budge till the threat's exorcised. Emily's tears flow hot. He wasn't guarding from us, he was saving us, all along. Urging you friends, stay with me because this unmasking. It's just the calm before the siege. As Lyle's shadow looms larger, plotting his desperate return in the black of a storm-tossed night, the farmhouse braces for war. Power lines snap, vents rattle, and heroes rise from the dark. But can they hold the line when the claws come out? You ever feel time slow to a crawl, like the universe hits pause, just when the stakes are highest? When every creak of your house, every gust rattling the windows feels like a countdown to something you can't name but know is coming. That's where Emily and Tyler stand now, in the pitch-black heart of their Elmwood farmhouse. The air heavy with the electric snap of an autumn storm brewing over Indiana's cornfields. Their golden lab Max isn't just a pet anymore. He's a FEMA-trained sentinel. His scarred paw an unyielding vigil, the only thing standing between baby Sophie and a predator named Lyle Grant, who's been slinking through their vents like a ghost with a grudge. If those flour-dusted fingerprints had you gripping the wheel, folks, this midnight siege, it'll have you holding your breath, because when the lights die and the claws come out, heroes aren't born, they're unleashed. And trust me, this clash isn't just about survival. It's about what you fight for when the dark closes in. It's September 27th, and the night feels alive, restless, as if the fields outside are whispering secrets to the storm clouds piling high. Emily and Tyler have barely slept since the powder test turned their dream home into a crime scene. Those handprints, those boot treads, Lyle's nest in the basement like a spider's lair. The sheriff's doubled patrols, a cruiser idling 2 farms over, but out here help feels like a lifetime away. They've moved Sophie's crib to their bedroom for safety, but Max, he's immovable, camped by the nursery vent, his golden fur a faint glow in the nightlight's beam, eyes locked on that rusted grate like it's a portal to perdition. Dinner's a quiet affair. Spaghetti cooling, untouched the baby monitor, humming its steady pulse. Emily's sketching again, jagged lines of vents morphing into claws, while Tyler checks the new deadbolts, his bandaged hand from a clumsy box cutter mishap. Earlier in the week, throbbing under the gauze. "He's out there, Em," he mutters, peering through the kitchen blinds at the swaying corn. Lyle knows we're onto him. Why come back? Emily's voice is steel, though her hands shake, because we have what he wants. Whatever's still hidden in those ducks. She's right, detectives found more than her mom's locket in that basement nest. Rings watches a silver rattle, all stashed for Lyle's post-sale grab, part of Harlan Voss's flipping scam across 12 counties. The storm breaks at 11:47 p.m., a crack like a shotgun splitting the sky, and the power dies with a soft whine plunging the farmhouse into ink. The monitor's screen blinks out Sophie's breaths, now a faint echo in the dark. Emily's heart lurches as she grabs her phone, its flashlight beam slicing through the gloom like a blade. Tyler's already moving his silhouette tense against the hallway wall, whispering, "Stay with Sophie." But Max, oh Max, shifts gears, his hackles rising like golden spikes, a growl rumbling low enough to rattle your bones through the radio on your commute. It's not just the storm. A metallic scrape, deliberate sharp, crawls from the nursery vent, like a screwdriver, prying at the grate's edges. Emily freezes phone, trembling in her grip as Sophie stirs in her crib. "Ty," she hisses, voice a tightrope of panic. He's halfway up the stairs when it happens. A gloved hand thrusts through the loosened vent fingers, splayed like a spider reaching for the crib. Lyle's here, bold and desperate, his dark jacket blending with the shadows, as the grate clatters free. Chaos explodes like a match to dry tinder. Tyler sprints for Sophie, scooping her up just as an antique brass lamp Emily's thrift store find topples in his rush, crashing to the hardwood. Sparks scatter, catching the edge of the nursery's vintage lace curtains, and flames lick upward, greedy and orange. Sophie's wails pierce the air, a siren call through the smoke. Max moves like lightning, his FEMA training kicking in, despite the old scar on his paw aching from that 2018 tornado collapse. He launches a golden blurred jaws, clamping Lyle's leg not to maim, but to pin a controlled takedown from years, sniffing out survivors in rubble. Lyle grunts pain echoing through the ductwork, and then glint of steel. A box cutter flashes in the phone's beam, slashing wildly. It catches Tyler's arm, blood blooming black in the dim light, a mirror to his earlier cut, now torn wider. The blade swings again, grazing Max's flank, matting his golden fur with red. But he doesn't flinch. His growl deepens, holding fast like a soldier at his post. Emily's maternal fire ignites. She spots the fire extinguisher installed on the sheriff's tip, bolted to the nursery wall, and lunges for it, yanking the pin like she's pulling the pin on a grenade. "Cover her face," she yells to Tyler, who shields Sophie with his jacket, blood dripping onto the floorboards. The extinguisher roars, white chemical fog blasting Lyle's face, forcing his arm back into the duct. Max's teeth tearing a shred of sleeve as he retreats. The flames on the curtain sputter under her second spray smoke, curling like ghosts, the acrid stink of charred lace and suppressant choking the room. Sophie's cries sharpen, but Tyler rocks her, his wounded arm trembling, whispering, "We're okay, baby girl, we're okay." Max stands firm, blood seeping from his flank eyes, never leaving the vent. A living barricade. Real-world echoes hit hard here. In 2023, an Iowa lab named Daisy pinned a home invader in a Des Moines suburb. Her barks and tackle buying seconds for police to swarm. Hero status cemented with a local PD medal. 'Cause desperation drives cornered thieves to violence, Lyle's scam unraveling pushed him to this reckless strike. Effect: a family bloodied but unbroken neighbors, now forming watch groups, rural response times tightening by 10% county-wide. Compared to pet-free homes, stats show dogs deter 70% of break-ins, yet owners often misread labs as too soft for guard duty. Big mistake. Adrenaline's fog clouds judgment rushed moves, spike injury risks by a third in crises like this. The lesson burns bright. In the crucible, the soft ones, mom's dogs, instincts turn to steel, rewriting who leads when the world catches fire. Outside, red and blue lights pulse through the storm as the sheriff's cruiser screeches up tires, spitting gravel. Deputies flood the house, flashlights carving paths through the chemical haze, shouts of "clear" bouncing off the walls. Emily's still clutching the extinguisher, knuckles white as Tyler cradles Sophie, blood staining her blanket. But her cries softening. Max limps but holds his post, a low growl warning the vent's silence. A deputy kneels, checking his wound. "Tough boy, you'll get stakes for this." But the twist? Oh, it lands like a thunderclap. As they secure the scene, a detective's flashlight catches something in the duct's mouth. A tiny, blinking red light. Not just a vent. A camera wired into the system, its lens trained on Sophie's crib. Lyle wasn't just stealing. He was watching night after night, mapping their lives like a vulture circling prey. Emily's stomach lurches, her whisper barely audible. How long? How long was he watching her? Tyler's face hardens his arm, tightening around Sophie, and Max's ears prick as if he knew all along. The house feels violated. Its bones no longer charming but sinister, every creak a betrayal. But this fight, it's not over. That camera's just the tip of a darker web, and as the storm rages on, the Harpers are done being prey. With Max's blood on the floor and a trap already brewing, the next move is theirs, and it's gonna sting. Stay locked in, friends, because dawn's coming, and with it, a reckoning that'll make you cheer for the heroes who bleed for love. Imagine waking to a dawn so quiet it feels like the world's holding its breath just for you. The storms past the cornfields outside your window, lie still in the scars on your skin. Your dog's fur. Your heart start to feel less like wounds and more like badges of a battle won. That's where Emily Harper Harper and their baby Sophie stand now in the tender light of their Elmwood farmhouse, their golden Labrador Max, limping but unbowed by their side. If the midnight siege left you breathless this final chapter, it's the exhale, the one that stitches a family back together, turns a house into a home again, and reminds you why we fight for those we love. But don't relax just yet, friends, because the shadows have one last twist to whisper, and it's the kind that'll make you hug your own furry heroes a little tighter. This is where trust is forged, where dawn breaks not just the night but the fear, and where a dog's loyalty becomes the heartbeat of a family reborn. The morning after this chaos, September 28th, 2025, feels like a painting, all soft golds and purples spilling over the Indiana fields, the air crisp with the promise of autumn. The farmhouse stands weathered but defiant, its clappered walls catching the first rays like a warrior catching its breath. Inside, Emily and Tyler are a tangle of exhaustion and relief, sprawled on the living room rug, with Sophie nestled between them, her tiny snores a melody against the silence. Max lies close, his flank bandaged from the vet's midnight stitches, his scarred paw resting lightly on Sophie's blanket, as if to say, "I've got you." The nursery's cordoned off yellow tape, flapping like a grim reminder of Lyle Grant's invasion, his box cutter / that chilling camera blinking in the vent. But the sheriff's team has swept the house clean, hauling out the last of Lyle's nest. More stolen treasures. Rings a gold watch, a locket from another family's lost mother, bagged as evidence for a trial that'll shake 12 counties. Harlan Voss, the slick flipper behind it all, is in cuffs by noon, his empire of fake inspections crumbling under ledgers seized from his Lafayette office. 15 counts of fraud, theft, and conspiracy, the detective says, her voice crackling through the radio. "Restitution's coming for you and 50 others," she adds, nodding to Emily. "Your journal. It's the roadmap that broke this wide. Healing starts small, like seeds taking root after a frost." Tyler, his arm stitched and slung, trades his history teacher armor for something softer. Vulnerability, raw as the dawn. Over coffee, he takes Emily's hand, his voice thick. "I doubted you doubted, Max. Thought I could logic this away. Never again." She squeezes back her artist's eyes, tracing his face like a sketch she's learning to love anew. Studies show it. Couples who face trauma together see a 20% boost in intimacy if they lean into the raw moments, not away. Their bond, frayed by sleepless nights and skepticism, knits tighter, now stitched by shared scars. They start instinct nights, a ritual born over pancakes, jotting down Max's cues, every ear flick, every growl in a new journal, a testament to trusting the unseen. Emily gets a tattoo, a tiny paw print curling around a locket charm inked where her mother's silver used to hang, a forever bloom reborn on her skin. Max, he's the neighborhood hero, sporting a custom K9 vest from the local fire station, his tornado scar a badge kids pet at the park, whispering, he's a superhero. The farmhouse gets a facelift too. Sealed vents, motion sensor cams, a new grate bolted tighter than Fort Knox. Rural life shifts, neighbors form a watch group. Response times drop 10% as Elmwood rallies a ripple from one family's fight. Real-world echoes ground this victory. Think of the Lab Legends Foundation, a real group aiding retired service dogs like Max, giving them homes after disasters like that 2018 tornado he survived. Their call, adopt, don't shop your Max, is out there waiting. Compare this to a 2017 Kansas case where a family ignored their dog's vent obsession only to lose everything: marriage, trust, safety, to a stalker's crawl space lair. Cause complacency after the first scare, assuming it's over. Effect divorce and nightmares that lingered years past the headlines. The mistake we all make post-crisis. Slipping back to old habits. Ignoring that digital scams or new flippers lurk like wolves in fresh paint. The lesson shines clear. Loyalty isn't bred. It's awakened. Cherish the quiet watchers, human or hound, who guard your soul. But here's the twist that'll hit you like a sunrise after a storm. A year later, September 2026, the Harpers are back in that nursery now, repainted with stars. Sophie toddling on chubby legs, giggling as she chases Max's wagging tail. The house hums with peace. Crickets outside, a new nightlight casting comets across the ceiling. Emily's sketching Sophie's smile. Tyler grading papers with a grin. When Sophie pauses, points at Max, and says her first word. Max. Not Mama, not Dada, but Max, clear as a bell. Her tiny voice, a love letter to the hero who held the line. Emily's tears fall, Tyler's laugh catches, and Max, he thumps his tail, eyes soft, as if he's always known his place in their story. And just for you listeners, a what if to haunt your dreams. What if Lyle wasn't alone? What if another camera's still blinking somewhere in those ducts, waiting for the next family to move in? Rewatch this tale and you'll wonder, because heroes don't just win battles. They teach us to keep watching the shadows. The Harpers learned it the hard way. Trust the whispers, lean into the loyal, and never underestimate the heart beating beside you, furry or not. So as you drive home tonight, glance at your own. Max curled in the back seat or waiting at the door. They're not just pets. They're the pulse of your home. The ones who'll face the dark so you don't have to. Stay vigilant, friends, because love, it's the fiercest shield of all. Hey, you amazing story lovers. Did Max and the Harpers have you on the edge of your seat? Smash that like button. If you're hugging your furry hero tighter tonight, subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a tale that'll make your heart race and your soul soar. Drop a comment. What's your pet's wildest instinct moment? Or share this story with that friend who's always too busy to listen to their dog's warnings. Want more chills and thrills? Check our playlist of true life-inspired tales in the description. And let's keep the campfire glowing. Together, we're unstoppable, just like Max. See you in the next story.